Hey, you guys, so good to be back. I just wanted to come on quickly today to do a reading. I am feeling like a freaking, I don't know, I'm all over the map, you guys. And maybe you are too, maybe it's just me. I kind of wanted to take a look at what's going on emotionally, sort of step back from the spiritual ascension type stuff and look at emotional patterns that we might be holding. And of course, some of the other things might come out as well. It just depends on what the cards say. But I was, I don't know. Like I said, I've been all over the map for a little bit now. And I recognize that it is all positive, that every time I make it through one particular upset, that I feel like I have released a huge burden. So I know that this is healing and know that this is the process and that we're all going through it. At least I suspect we're all going through it. I don't suspect that we're going to find that it's just me, which is why I'm bothering to do this reading. Although if we do find out it's just me, then I probably won't post this video. Anyway, I was highly triggered again last night, and what kind of came out is probably some victim consciousness that might be needing to be cleared from me right now. Many of you know that I have not always treated myself well or been treated well by other people, by partners, by family, to an extreme, and at times. And many of you know that I do jujitsu, and I was in my regular class on Tuesday, and at the end of the class, we usually spar, and the person that I was working with came at me so hard and like with some kind of, it was almost violently. It was super weird. It was very painful. I felt like there was no technique involved. It was basically like somebody taking their rage out on me is what it felt like. And I could have completely been misunderstanding that. It could have been an intentional trigger that hit me in an emotional way so that I would release something. But I found that not only was I really upset about that, but it's like I sat down and I just, for some reason, I shut down and I wanted everybody else to notice or something. Like I wanted them to notice and like save me in some way, which was super fucking weird for me because if you know me at all, I am really independent. So I had to take a minute and be like, okay, Emily, this is fucking martial arts. Like, you're going to get your ass beat, and you get your ass beat all the time. Like, what is the difference now? So it could be that it was simply an energetic thing. And that I was triggered because I needed to be triggered. I obviously have something to release here. So whether it is about past experiences on an emotional level or it's about, collective consciousness, a collective victim consciousness, collective martyr consciousness, which is something else that has been coming up for me. It was really hard. And I had a very hard time. I've been through PTSD in my lifetime, and it kind of put me back there. I had a hard time relating to it, and like I shut my energy off is basically what happened. I could not connect with the people in the room anymore, and yet I was like screaming on the inside. So I share this with you because whether it's exactly that energy with you or not, I feel like my general feeling is a lot of people are screaming on the inside right now. And I want to look closer at what's going on for people as part of my process of pulling it out of myself and healing it, but also to help you guys because I've received so much amazing feedback from all of you that it is very, very helpful when I do that. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to start with these Heal Yourself reading cards and just see what comes up. I just don't know. I don't know what's going to come up. That's too many. Okay. Let me get a couple more here. Sort of feeling into this, hearing. The card that came out was Rejection. And I'm getting a lot of different stuff, actually. I do think that a lot of us are healing from past rejections, but primarily rejection of self. Okay, nothing else is coming out of this deck right now. So let's just start here. Rejection. It's number 13. If that's meaningful to anyone. My feeling is, primarily, there are a lot of different levels here. So rejection of self is one really important thing. And honestly, there's no stronger rejection. When you reject yourself, there's no way that you can feel acceptance from other people. There just is no way, because your baseline is an energy of rejection. And that comes through judgment, through judging yourself and saying, I'm not worthy, or I don't belong with these people, or in my case, I'm not good enough to be here, or I don't deserve to be here, or I don't deserve, even down to relationships, I don't deserve love. Or you could say, I don't know how to be in a relationship, or I don't know how to be a good partner, or I'm only worth what I can give. Those are the kinds of things that come up for me often, and I feel come up for a lot of empathic people. And I feel that a lot of you watching me are those people. And we've been in the position where we've allowed ourselves to be used and abused by others because we fear rejection by them so badly that we will not stand up for ourselves. Which is a funny thing, again, for me to say, because so much of my life is about independence and about being fearless and about strength. And yet this is buried, and, it makes sense, I guess, for me, like, this is buried so deeply within me. Of course, that is, what I am playing out in my lifetime, or even projecting, because I so badly want to cover up or hide this fear of rejection within me. But the real answer is to release it, not cover it up or hide it, So you may also be feeling this fear of rejection in some way, whether it's like I also do this where I have a hard time communicating with people, just like the other night, partially because of that trigger, but also in the end that, like, I'm rejecting myself. I'm rejecting my own value, the validity of my own concerns, basically saying, Emily, what the fuck did you expect? It's martial arts. Of course you're getting your ass kicked. And, not wanting to say something about somebody going way over the top because you don't want to be rejected by the group. You don't want to be pointed at as an outcast when you already feel like an outcast. Sorry. And it's not just in that situation for me, like, that for me, I think, was the microcosm of the macrocosm for what is playing out in my life right now. I feel like there is a little piece of, like, this martyr consciousness too, because by sacrificing yourself and not saying something, you're perceiving for either the greater good or to keep the peace. Keeping the peace is what, I'm really guilty of. You become the martyr then. And I remember that feeling of looking around for someone to save me, which is super weird. But it almost makes me think of, like, how first of all, we look outside of ourselves for our value. We don't we don't recognize the intrinsic value of ourselves all the time. We look for others to step in and assign us that value by their reaction to us, by if they think we are valuable enough to care about or save or whatever. I'm also getting this feeling that some of you may have past lives, and I know this is true for me, may have past lives where you were rejected from society in some way, whether you were a healer and rejected, or, called a witch and rejected, or, disabled and rejected, or homosexual and rejected, or whatever it may be. Those are some of the scenarios that are coming up, that are being fed to me right now. So those might be meaningful to some of you guys. I definitely know and have felt and have seen lifetimes where I lost my life because of a profound rejection of who and what I was. And so that comes with it because, at the bottom of all of our fears is one major fear, and that fear is death, that somehow I will die, And when that fear comes to fruition because you've been rejected from society or whatever, that largest, most major fear, and then you enter into a new lifetime, your subconscious mind doesn't know that you're not in that situation anymore. And so, we continue to play that out. We continue to play out that fear in different, time appropriate situations, right? So no one's going to tie me to a stake and burn me for being, a healer and a psychic anymore. But I can continue to be marginalized via marginalizing myself, because I'm the one with that deeply planted in my subconscious, not everybody else. And so I'm putting myself in and attracting those situations. That doesn't give anybody permission to victimize anyone. That's not what I'm saying here, but I am saying that the situation has come up because I do need to look at that energy and clear it. So it does give you some power over the situation in that way. I'm going to pull a couple other cards here to see if we can expand on what's coming out. And when I do these things, I get super personal. Sometimes I feel kind of guilty that I'm just reading myself and like sharing it or something. I don't know, like maybe I'm wasting your time. But I really do feel like a lot of you are probably experiencing this kind of energy right now. So please let me know if you are, then I will feel better about it. Not that I should require validation, but it is what it is, I accept that part of myself. Okay, so let's get some more cards to expand upon this card of rejection that's coming up for what's going on with us on an emotional and energetic level right now. Okay. Oops. I think the bookkeeper just showed up for my other job. Harmonic resolution. So that says negativity, anger, transmutation. So what that feels like to me is a really profound need for an energy shift. And that's kind of what's going on here, is that releasing of, or like, it's really bringing attention and awareness to this particular energy. Because this is very much buried. I'm hearing that this kind of rejection, while it feels natural to being a human being, it isn't. What I'm actually hearing is that at some point in prehistory, this became a way of gaining control. And so it's almost like a negative energy that was introduced to an otherwise loving, caring species. I don't want to get too far into the weird because I don't know anything about it, but it does really feel like something that was imposed upon us. This idea of ostracization. Is that the right way to say it? I don't know why that became difficult for me just then, but the idea of rejecting people and controlling them in that way, controlling with fear. Transformation just came out. Metamorphosis, synchronicity, the unexpected. So I do feel like this is an important transformative moment for many of us, at least if you're resonating with this message. To remove this, they're showing me this is like a baseline, a very low vibrational energy, which is buried very deeply in our subconscious mind. And as you pull, it's like a loose thread. As you pull that out, there's a lot of other stuff that's going to come with it. So this idea of being the outcast, the reject, ostracized, it comes with this feeling of unsafety, because humanity is by its nature a community group, right? So when you are not allowed in community for some reason that is related to who you are at your core, it upsets the very balance of who we are as human beings, and not just as individuals, but as a collective, is what they're saying right now. So this is a really important idea to give our attention to at the moment, that it actually stabilizes the collective if we, of course, obviously, okay. So what they just showed me was like unity consciousness. Duh. That's what we're going for. You can't have unity consciousness if you have rejection, if you have separation consciousness. That's so super clear. I don't know how I didn't know that before. But again, here's me rejecting myself and not being kind to myself. And yes, okay, so they said, I just said those words, rejecting self. And so that's where the deepest level of it lies. It might have been manifested through our experience in past lives, in this life, but it really is ourselves that we primarily need to address with this rejection energy, this martyrdom energy, this what's the word? Victim consciousness energy. Okay. This process actually gives us a restart, and should feel like, or does feel like, it's like a new experience for each one of us. It's almost an adventure and a renewal. We have Ace of Trees coming up here, abundance. We have the Knight of Stars, which is like the Knight of Wands. And then finally we have the Awakening, emergence. Okay. And so I feel like this goes well, really well along with the transformation card and the harmonic resolution card, in the sense that this is just an entirely new way of relating to ourselves. And it's another layer of awakening, of the awakening process. A lot of wisdom coming in, a lot of transition, and here's all this emotional energy which you're rising out of. So it does feel like, I want to say it like a fated event, something that this kind of transformation or transmutation of this energy is necessary, and not related just to having an emotional day or having a bad week or being off your meds, or, this is very transformational energy. And so it's important to surrender to it. It's important to, what they're showing me now is it's important to take it day by day, step by step, and not become overly mentally absorbed into it, and just allow the energy to filter through you in a way that creates healing. We have the Queen of Stars, which is like the Queen of Wands with the Lovers union. And so this is bringing you closer to your own inner union, your own inner power, personal power, magnetism. And by virtue of that, your own inner union, where you yourself come into unity consciousness, it brings you closer to any external union you may be seeking or working on. It's a balancing. And by removing this, they're showing it to me like a foreign object. And so as that is removed, you clear like the chakra system, you enable the abundance to come in, you enable the balance. Okay. What do I want to pull next here? let's just get a, I'm gonna pull a Sacred Rebels card. I haven't touched these cards in a long time, but I'm just gonna like wrap it up there because it sort of answered my question. And I hope this has been helpful for you. But let's get a Sacred Rebels card to close the reading. I'm just going to clear these really quickly. All right. So one card, please, Source Creator, to close this reading. To really underline and give us advice regarding the energies we're experiencing, the emotional shifts, ending the struggles, the ups and the downs at this time. Okay. Number 16, what you want wants you. What you want wants you. So I'm just going to read that from the book super quick. Do you dare to believe that what you want is also wanting you? The genuine desires of your heart are the sacred purpose of the soul swathed in pleasure. Yet, if you have been shamed, judged for, made to feel guilt over, or denied your natural desires or pleasures in any way, you may have developed a very tricky and complicated relationship with the yearnings of your heart. We often learn to distrust our own desires and come to believe that they are something to be overcome or avoided. We may even try to want second best, disbelieving that we are worthy of our first choice, of what we really genuinely want and would fulfill us deeply. Perhaps we have conditioned ourselves to believe that getting what we want is for others and not us. That's totally me. This oracle comes with a healing message for you. First, trust in what you truly want, not the substitutions and make-dos, but what would truly bring a sense of passionate, playful purpose and fulfillment in your life. You might not know anything more than I want to sing, or I want to write, I want to help animals, or I want to paint. Start with what you know and hold it in your heart as you do the healing process. If you genuinely do not know what your heart wants, you will very much enjoy the process of exploring your desires by making gentle and persistent inquiries of yourself. Ask yourself, what is it that truly moves you? Give this matter consistent attention without forcing a response. Your answers may come in a sudden flood or slowly over time. As you get to know your genuine desires and give yourself permission to feel and receive them, a powerful sequence is set in motion. From the depths of the universe, your desire hurtles its way toward you as the perfect manifestation. It's coming to you even now, manifesting itself as the best situation or relationship or circumstances to bring fulfillment to your heart and radiance to your life path and creative awakening. So don't give up. Keep dreaming of your fulfillment, but don't imagine it as always awaiting you in some distant future. Instead, play with what it will feel like to be so fulfilled right now. How will you feel different? How will you be more grateful, more peaceful and content, more confident, more trusting in your ability to create in the loving responsiveness of this wild universe? Cultivate those feelings. Get to feel what genuine desire and the meeting of that desire. Get to feel what genuine desire and the meeting of that desire that can then generate yet new desire is like for you. Give yourself permission to go there right now. Remember that if you have people in your life who are shutting you down, suggesting that what you want is not possible or that you are aiming too high, then they need this healing too. Perhaps you can inspire them by giving yourself permission to heal. This will naturally open them up to the idea that they could give themselves permission to know and fulfill their unique desires too. Whether someone chooses to be inspired by you or be fearful of your innate creative power is completely up to them. This oracle brings you the message that whether you see it coming or not, your desire is already on its way to you. It's closer than you think, and soon you will be able to see it, touch it, feel it, and enjoy it. You will then become inspired for your next manifestation based on the true desires of your heart. Repeat this statement 3 times with feeling. What I want wants me, and I am open, willing, and capable to receive it through unconditional love now. And so if you guys saw my video from the other day where I did some affirmations and healing through unconditional love and affirmative statements, it really is the same thing. And we talked earlier in this video even just about feeling worthy and, you know, are we capable of, are we allowed to or able to receive these things, because we have this idea that we are less than or different than or separate from. And in changing that perspective, we bring ourselves into unity consciousness and provide ourselves the healing that we're seeking so much. And it starts with you and your rejection or acceptance of self, and the acceptance of self being the most important ingredient to this entire process. No matter what it is that you need to accept about yourself, accepting it now and making that profound statement, okay? So guys, I hope this was helpful. I will talk to you again soon. Thank you so much for your patience with me and for sitting with me through my emotions. And I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.